Hello everyone, David here with a special video. Now, what makes this video special are a number of things. One, this, if all goes according to plan, will be my last video for the year, closing out 2013. And I originally wanted my last video of 2013 to be a review, and I wanted to be on something that was rather big. I was thinking a review on Tomb Raider, the reboot, or just something that would have been quite special to fit the occasion of being the last video for the year. Crossing over to what I'm hoping to be a prosperous year for not only me, but also the videos, and for all of you guys who watch my videos and have supported me. And I'm getting to something with this whole thing about support. But recently, and I'm going to try to make this video without any cuts because I want it to be as sincere as possible. I don't want it to sound scripted. I was thinking about doing this scripted. I was going to have like a notepad with all the notes and stuff like that I wanted to say, but I'm just going to go ahead and speak with not only my casual stutter, but also from the heart. And I decided to dedicate my last video of the year, that is, to a farewell of sorts to Spill.com. If you guys don't know what Spill.com is, or I should say was, it was an entertainment website. It used to be just a movie website focused on just movies, whether it be movie news or movie reviews or podcasts centered around cinematic culture, if you will. But as it went on, it started to venture into other forms of medium, from comic books with the League, the League of Extremely Ordinary Gentlemen. There it is. And you also got the several other podcasts that cater to almost everybody else's needs, and including video games as well. As of late, I think it wasn't until 2010 or so in the website's cycle that they decided to start talking about video games and such. And so it had everything. It had everything for almost everybody. And it was one of my favorite sites to visit. In fact, I would often reference not only the site itself, but also the people who ran the site, the main Spill crew. And especially during some of my video game reviews or movie reviews, I would sometimes quote them, because sometimes, for the most part, actually I shouldn't say sometimes, for the most part, they would share my opinion about movies and video games. In fact, about maybe 80 to 90% of the time, their opinion reflected mine, and it is why I treasured that site. Treasured that site dearly, was because there was an awful lot of relatable content on that site, whether it be talking about movies or games. They shared an awful lot of opinions that were mine, and I felt like they felt like people that I could have easily talked to, because I love my friends. I love them, but there's certain moments where I can't talk to my friends the same way that I could have talked to the guys who ran the site, because in terms of movies and games and some of the stuff that I really love, because most of my friends like movies and games, but they don't like it as much as I do, or they don't like it the way that I do. But these guys at this site did. Now, originally, like I said, I wasn't planning on doing this for the site in terms of my last video and everything, but I decided to dedicate my last video to that site because at the beginning of this month, it was announced that the site was going to be shut down by the website that I got bought by. And I could easily make this video, a rant video, about how that site just completely screwed everything up and didn't know what to do with the site and play the blame game. And don't get me wrong, I'm furious. Now, I'm not furious about them shutting down the site as much as I am about them shutting down the site prematurely. They said that it was going to be after the new year, but they went ahead and they shut it down 2 weeks prematurely, not giving us enough time to either listen to some of the reviews that we've been behind on, or catching up on some of the content that was on that site, and giving the guys a chance to at least put together a farewell podcast to say goodbye, at least on the actual site. Not saying that they can't do that. They can. And more than likely, by the time this video goes up, a podcast may have been posted that has all 5 of the founding members of Spill.com, consisting of Sir Corey Coleman, Cyrus, also known as Chris Cox, Leon, also known as Martin Thomas, Carlyle, also known as C. Robert Cargill, who co-wrote Sinister, if you guys don't know. Sinister, the horror movie from last year. And the co-host 3000, also known as Tony Guerrero. And that would have been awesome. And don't get me wrong, like I said, we're probably going to see that podcast, whether it be on SoundCloud or on the up-and-coming website that Corey has brewing up. But the fact that the chance to have at least one last hurrah on the actual site have that get completely ripped away, it does infuriate me. But I'm not going to focus on that. I'm not going to fill this video with negative thoughts, but instead focus on some of the positive energy that the site brought me. Because the reason why I'm making a video for the site in the first place, and not with any other site that I've been checking up on and I read that, oh, they're shutting down, is because Spill.com had something special over all those other websites. And that is that, like I said, I had an awful lot of relatable opinions and content, but it was, plain and simple, it was just a no bullshit website. I mean, all of the founding members as well as the community just felt like, and I'm sorry if the chair's screeching here, sorry about that. Just the site was filled with no BS whatsoever. They weren't, all smiles, trying to hide something that that felt very corporate, if you will. It felt like 5 genuine guys who founded a site where they just wanted to talk about movies and get drunk. And it felt like that from the beginning to the end, through the purchasing of the website, to various changes that it went through, to just all of the problems and ups and downs that the website went through. Now, I wasn't there since the very beginning. I understand that I think the beginning of the website was either 2006 or 2007. I started listening and watching Spill in 2009 with the Zombieland review. I would often see Spill.com whenever I would look up a YouTube review of a particular movie that I just recently watched, and Spill's reviews would always pop out like at the very first, the first 5 or the first 10. And I would always think to myself, like, who the hell are these guys? Why are they so popular that their videos would be on the very first page of the YouTube search for that particular review of that movie? And so all of a sudden, when it came to Zombieland, I just gave in and I said, you know what, screw it. What is it about these guys that makes them so funny and popular? And I watched their Zombieland review. That was the very first review that I watched. And I was just laughing my ass off, but more than that, it was just something that I haven't seen before. Those kind of animated reviews. And I went ahead and I watched, the second review that I watched was for District 9, because at that moment, after watching Zombieland, I was thinking to myself, okay, Zombieland is probably in my top 3, and for the time being, District 9 was my favorite movie of the year, and it actually turned out to be my favorite movie of the year by year's end. But because it was one of my favorite movies of the year, I went back and I saw the District 9 review, and I also noted how hilarious it was, how insightful it was, how much of their opinions reflected mine, even down to some of the complaints I've had of not only that particular film, but almost any film that I watched that year. Because after that, I went on a Spill.com binge of watching all of their reviews from that year. And I loved, like I said, not only the content and the opinions, but also how they're animated. It was like Gorillas, but for movie reviews, where they're animated and you know that there's people behind these voices, but I kind of like the mystery of not knowing how they looked like and just hearing their voices. And they were very talented, and so I subscribed to their YouTube channel. But I was hesitant to actually check out the site, because when it comes to stuff like that, like for IGN or various other websites that have their own YouTube channels, but I prefer to just watch their videos on YouTube for some reason instead of actually visiting their site, I stuck with that for a while, and it wasn't until later the next year that I finally went ahead and said, okay, I'm going to actually start listening to some of the, or maybe it wasn't late that year, but it was like early 2010 or so when I decided to go ahead and start listening to their audio reviews as well as some of their podcasts on the actual site. And like they say, the rest is history. Since then, I've been an avid listener. And I started doing reviews in 2007 with my old channel, Black Spider David. From Black to Dark. But again, my original channel, I started doing reviews on there with movies and figures. And it wasn't that much into video games. I would do a video game review every now and then, but I wasn't such a gamer as I am now, and I wasn't reviewing as many games as I am doing right now. But it was my introduction to Spill.com that managed to shape my reviews to how they are now. It's the way that I talk and the way that I bring my points across, in some ways, is how Spill.com has influenced me as a movie reviewer. And they also influenced me as a person, because they wouldn't just talk about movies and games in their podcast, whether it be A Couple of Cold Ones or Leog or Let's Do This. They would bring some insight from their personal lives into it. They would actually, they wouldn't be afraid, especially Corey, to talk about some of their personal things, their personal matters. Corey in particular, going through therapy and the stories about his mom and what happened with his dad and stuff like that, made these guys, like I said, those kind of no bullshit type folks that really wanted to connect with their audience and with their members, and overall with the community that eventually became their family. Now, I'm not going to be a hypocrite here and be like, oh yes, I interacted with everybody on the site. I'm going to confess, I wasn't that much involved with the site. I would hardly post anything. I wouldn't check out many of the blogs, but I would indeed religiously listen to the website, whether it be almost every single movie review to date or a couple of cold ones. Because when it came to like I said, when it comes to the podcast, it has something for everybody, whether it be games or comic books or just plain old movies or plain old crazy talk. They had a podcast for everybody. And for me, my favorites were A Couple of Cold Ones and when it was on the website, Loading Bar. And I loved all of it. And it was a sad thing to see the Loading Bar go. But I should have known that when the Loading Bar went, that should have been a definite sign that the site was not in good hands. And eventually, their parent website pulled the plug. And like I said, it irks me not so much that they took the decision to pull the plug on the site, because like Corey said in some of the call-in shows that he was doing when he finally announced the closing of the website, things like this happen. It is a business decision. It's nothing personal. It's all about numbers, and it does make sense that this happens at the end of the year, let alone close to Christmas time, because that's when the whole quarter system comes into play. What irks me, however, is that they closed the site prematurely. That's the one that pisses me off, and more so to me, because as much as an avid and religious listener I was to the website, I'll admit I was kind of behind on some of the podcasts. I just recently started listening to the August reviews and podcasts. Whether it be the movie reviews or the Spoiled podcast, especially with the Breaking Bad Spoiled podcast and the A Cocos, a couple of cold ones. I was kind of behind. I know that we're in December, let alone about to enter January, and I'm barely catching up on August. Yeah, I'm sorry about that, but it hurts me more knowing that they shut down the website, and now with the exception of maybe a few reviews being posted on YouTube as audio files, won't be able to listen to any of those podcasts now. So you get my point. But like I said, the point of this video is to thank everybody at Spill.com, and not just the main crew, even though I am indebted to you guys, because you guys have had some sort of, as subtle as it's been, you've had some sort of impact on my life, whether it be as a person or as a movie or as a reviewer period on my channel here. You guys have had some sort of influence there, whether it be with your relatable opinions or with some of your more personal matters that managed to make you guys become much more likable and connectable people. Something that various other websites, let alone movie websites, don't have. And like I said, it's not just a thank you for the main guys at Spill, or the main guys that were at Spill, but also the community. Because it's something that's just not, it's lightning in the bottle. The kind of lightning that could be captured again, don't get me wrong. And and it's probably gonna happen again on on Corey's future websites, as well as the future endeavors of that website. Which gotta remind me, I gotta back that up. I would really like to make some sort of contribution, but I gotta make sure because right now I'm in a financial predicament. I don't have a job. Hey, there we are. We don't have a job. But you guys are in better hands than I am. I mean, you guys have this huge following that is willing to support you guys 100%. And I'm not saying that I don't. I'm not saying that I don't. I do have my fellow followers that are willing to support me to the end, and I am indebted to you guys. I thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. But this video is all about you guys, and it's dedicated to you guys, and I'm hoping you guys watch it, and if you do, please share it, because it's not just to you guys. As special as you guys are, this video also goes out to the Spill community for just hanging in there, and for still hanging in there to this day with all, like I said, the future endeavors of all these guys. And I'm gonna make sure to follow them on Facebook and on Twitter and on anything that they do. Like YouTube says, I will follow. So thank you guys for watching. I think that kind of wraps up my video, and hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys were a member, whether it be a member of the site or a follower of the site, even if you guys didn't have some sort of community account on the site, if you guys listened to the site by any means necessary, or even just watched their YouTube videos, please post in the comment. Let me know what you guys thought of Spill.com. What were you guys' fondest memories? I guess I should go ahead and give you guys some of my fonder memories of Spill from listening to them. There's several, and trying to dig through my memory bank of what were some of my favorites, it's gonna take a while to kind of get my memory ramped up here. But there were several moments. Some of the more recent ones, like this year, would have been let's see, what's a good one? Cyrus, and I feel a little bit bad that two of the moments that come instantly to mind involve Cyrus, and one would be in the to-do list review during Cyrus's explanation of how he rated that movie, and how he's just like, wait, what? And the whole everybody else on the review is just like, wait, what? But I think the one that takes the cake, and looking back at it, I'm pretty sure that both Cyrus and co-hosts are like, yeah, what was that? But I'll admit, it was a very freaky situation at the moment while listening to that review. I'm like, oh my god, is this really happening? And of course, I am talking about the lockdown review. The infamous lockdown review that pitted co-host and Cyrus against each other. And wow, I wonder what it would have been like to be in the shoes of Leon and Corey, who are just there like, what should we do? And I do understand that this is not the first time that this kind of sort of situation has happened between the main group. I remember this was actually one of my questions some odd years ago when Carla was still on the show, and when he was still doing A Coco with Corey. That my question into A Coco was there any rather big fight between you guys when it came to when it came to an opinion about a movie, when you guys were pitted against each other, and because you guys had such passionate opinions, you guys fought, you guys argued, you guys fought. It probably didn't come to some sort of physical altercation, but it did come to something where the atmosphere was quite awkward for the rest of the car ride home. And I remember Corey and Carlisle did say that, yeah, it has happened a number of times. There was one, I think, between Carlisle and Corey I think it was between Corey and Leon, and Carlisle was the one that was stuck in the middle between those two guys. I might be wrong about that. Correct me if I'm wrong, if you guys are listening or watching. But yeah, there's numerous moments, and yeah, I do have some regrets, such as not being able to go to any Spill.con. That doesn't mean that I won't be able to visit Austin as soon as I'm able to afford a flight there, whether it be after my career takes off or anytime soon, who knows. Doesn't mean that that can't happen. From what I hear, Mama Coleman is a magnificent host. So, keep a fold-out couch open for me, Corey. And like I said, there's various other things that I wish I could have done after, especially with the site prematurely closing. I didn't get a shirt. I would have liked to have gotten a shirt, Spill.com shirt. But material things do not substitute the memories that the site granted me with. And yeah, long live Spill. I mean, I can't, I wish that in some ways, I do wish that I would have some sort of significant resonance like all of these other members had that were calling in on the site, like on the call-in shows that Corey was having, and some of them were just tearing up and they were crying, and it got Corey emotional and it got me emotional too. But I do feel a little, I don't want to say regretful, but a little bummed out that I can't have that same kind of emotional impact by the site closing. No, don't get me wrong. I was just walking back and forth in my house. I was by myself when I read the news, and I was just like, seriously, this just happened. But I knew that it's a website. It's not like any of the main guys died. If they lost their job, I know that they're going to be successful. I have faith in them, and I have faith in all of their future things, that their future projects, especially Corey's new website. But but after that, it started to sink in me. Spill.com is closing. Every night, I have a number of websites that I check. ComingSoon.net, DVDtown.com, IMDb, DVD Active, of all the movie news, whether it be news of movies that are coming out or that have been released at that time or are coming out on DVD and Blu-ray, which is where those DVD websites come in. At the very, very end would be Spill.com, because I like to save the best for last. Now I can't do that, and there's been some times recently where I would go through withdrawal and I would actually type in Spill.com. I would type in Spill.com knowing that it's going to redirect me to Hollywood.com. And yeah, it's something, it's something that it took a while to sink in that, wow, this site's not going to be there anymore. And I'm not going to see the carousel with the reviews and the little tagline, the little joke, the little quote that they put there on the carousel. I'm not going to go through all its pages trying to look for movie reviews. Yeah, all that is gone. But I think it was Abraham Lincoln who said this, that, and I'm paraphrasing here, this is not the exact quote. I could look up the actual quote, but and that is that, you're going to have a failure, and yeah, you failed. But what you do with that failure is more important than the failure itself. Like I said, I can't remember the quote itself. I'm strictly paraphrasing here. But that's what I'm expecting for not only the Spill crew to do, but also the community. How are we going to take the closing of this website? Because the website wasn't a failure. The failure was the site not knowing what they had on their hands. But what are you going to do here on out? What are you going to do in the future? And so far, it's looking bright for all the guys from Spill, because, like I said, I have faith in them. But for the guys in the community, what are you guys going to do now that Spill has closed? Whatever it is, though, it's got to be positive. Whether it be you're going to follow these guys to the end, or you guys are going to contribute in some form where you guys are going to go ahead and do something creative. Because keep in mind, these guys are free to do as they please, especially Corey, who's going to start, creating this website of his. He can do whatever he wants. So if he can do whatever he wants, you guys can do whatever you want to contribute and to build this community and make it even bigger. Because there's probably some people that have never heard of Spill.com. Some of my viewers right now probably never heard of Spill.com. And it would be awesome if they would get introduced at the very beginning of this new website. That way they can say, I was there from the very beginning. And I followed these guys from the very beginning of this new era, of this new chapter. But anyways, I'm about to lose my voice. Feeling a little lightheaded because I haven't eaten in a while. And these lights are starting to get to me. But I will say that part of the reason why I'm still doing videos here on my channel is for Spill.com. And I just wanted to say thank you to Corey, Chris, Martin, Tony, Carhill. Thank you guys for doing what you did. And I will be following. And there isn't going to be another spill, but there can't be anything just as great. Spill was a name, like Corey said. Spill was a name, but the essence of Spill, it's still there, and it's going to continue to live on. So thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you guys next year. Hopefully, I'm going to bring something different to the table when it comes to my reviews. Might be a little bit of the same, maybe with some minor tweaks, whether it be technical or aesthetically. Is that how you say it? And if any of the Spill community, whether it be the community itself or the main guys at Spill, which would be awesome. It would feel, if I would get like a retweet by the guys at Spill for this video or some share on Facebook, I don't know, I don't care. That would be pretty awesome. It would be the equivalent of having like Jennifer Lawrence retweet or share my link, because I love her. So it would be that equivalent. Yeah. So like I said, if any of you guys are watching and are watching this video, if you guys have any sort of advice, even if you don't go through my channel and watch some of my reviews, that way you guys can provide some criticism or whatever. If you have any advice whatsoever, please let me know. Personal message, comment below, anything. Please tell me. I am welcome to it whatsoever. And if it is man, I'm flanking on the word right now. Criticism. If it's any criticism at all, if you do in fact watch like the past few videos that I have done, the past 5 or something, I don't know, any, then please let me know. I take criticism very well. It's going to be part of my job if my career is to flourish. I would love it. Please, please let me know. But like I said, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next year. Long live Spill. And now I'm going to go ahead and close my video. And I'm hoping that he does not get mad, whether it be Corey or Lieutenant Commander himself. But I'm going to go ahead and close this video with a special song sung by Lieutenant Commander Armstrong, who I know, I was never affiliated with the guy, but I can tell from the tone of his voice during that first call-in show that Corey did announcing the closing of the site, that he was a longtime follower from the very beginning, and this could have broken his heart, along with everybody else who was also emotionally affected by the shutdown of the site. So I'm going to go ahead, I went ahead and downloaded that podcast, and I'm going to go ahead and close out this video with that song that Lieutenant Commander Armstrong sung during that particular moment in that podcast when Corey was having issues and he had to restart his computer. And so Lieutenant Commander Armstrong was the only one on the line, and I think people were asking him to sing or to rap or do something, and so he decided to sing this song. And I think it would be appropriate to close out this tribute video of sorts, kind of a tribute video, with that particular song. And Lieutenant Commander Armstrong, if you do watch, I really hope you don't get mad at me for using your voice singing this in this video. I really hope you understand. And if you have a problem with it, please let me know. Then I'll go ahead and take down the video and repost it and cut this part out and just say bye everybody, because I would have loved to have something emotional at the video, at the end of the video, and hopefully you like what I did and you're okay with it. If you're not though, please let me know. Please let me know. I tried looking for you on Twitter and on Facebook, but I couldn't find anything, and I could look through Corey's followers, but that would take forever. So I went ahead and jumped the gun and decided to use this song, and if you're okay with it, thank you. If not, please let me know. But here is Lieutenant Commander Armstrong singing the song during that particular podcast. I can't remember the name of it. I know it's like a crooner song, like a Frank Sinatra type of song. Maybe it's a Frank Sinatra song itself. But thank you guys for watching, and now, Lieutenant Commander Armstrong. Long live Spill.
Blue moon, you saw me standing alone, without a dream in my heart, without a love of my own. Blue moon, you knew just what I was there for. You heard me saying a prayer for someone I really could care for. And then there's
Let
suddenly...
me call it.
Okay. All right, he's back, and he's mad. I better ditch out now, people, before I get castrated.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, you're coming in.
Okay. I'm glad because I just wanted to say thank you, and yes, I give you a big salute, Lieutenant Commander Armstrong. Godspeed, sir. Godspeed.
It's been a pleasure, Captain Coleman. It's been a pleasure.